Well, everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey, everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I want to talk about Doge. Before I talk about Doge, I want to talk about a little bit more of the context here. So this is the others chart, which is the cryptocurrency total market cap, excluding the top 10, so excluding Bitcoin, Ethereum, some of the stable coins, excluding some of the big stuff, right? You're really talking about including the stuff that are more esoteric, maybe more degen. And what is happening right now? Just looking at a weekly chart, you can see a couple things just right off the bat. Like, you don't really need anything fancy. It's basically just back tested this trend line here, found support and bounced. And as it bounced, it finally broke through this trend line over here too. The entire thing just looks like a very nice cup and handle. And right now the handle formation has been formed. It looks like we might be bringing out the handle soon. Whenever that happens, that can be pretty impulsive in terms of what it's trying to do. The other thing to look at is to look at these lines here. You can also see that the bull and support band, which is consists of the 20-week SMA and the 21-week EMA, has been flipped here from support to resistance here for a little while. And guess what? We had a 3 white soldiers pattern, broke back through a flattening from a negative sloping to flattening 20-week moving average and a 21-week moving average, and we back tested it, almost perfectly, found support. And when I see something like this, it just makes me think it's probably going to go up higher. It's like a perfect breakthrough and back tested support here. I cannot ask for anything more beautiful, right? Now, this is the others chart here. The other thing to look at too would be to look at the Bollinger Band. You can see how alts have really done very well from the period of November 2023 all the way up to like March of 2024. You have a little bit of a mini market, bull market here. And then since then, it's just been downtrend for like 6 months straight. But during the entire time, overextension retraced back to the mean. Where's the mean? A rising 20-month moving average is finding support right there. So to put you into this context here is very important because I want to talk about Dogecoin. And Dogecoin is one of the, poster child, if you will, when it comes to a meme season, because this is really the original meme coin. What is it doing so far? Look at the monthly 20-month moving average, served from resistance over here, flip into support and back test it once here and twice here now. Right. What happened last time? Well, we kind of have a little bit of a back test just once before moving up. This cycle may be a little bit slower, but it's doing what it needs to do, right? 20-month moving average, negative sloping to positive sloping to flat, right? Negative sloping to a little bit positive sloping, a little bit flattish. Flip this from resistance over here to support. Flip this from resistance over here to support. What else do you need? What else do you need is you need a little bit more impulsive price action. For price probably wants to gravitate up back here towards the top of the Bollinger Band, which is around 18 cents. That's where price wants to go. And as it goes up there, as the bull market continues to unfold, most likely the Bollinger Band is going to end up expanding, allowing price to go up a lot higher. Do I think that we're going to end up getting a crazy bounce like we did over here from 2020 to 2021? I don't think so. I think this is going to be a little bit more muted, but I still think it's going to be a pretty decent rally, if you will. Kind of zooming back to the weekly here, and if I do the bull and support band, that's exactly kind of what the others chart is doing, and it's also exactly what happened last time before it broke out, right? You basically have it underneath as a resistance over here around late 2020 until it finally flipped the support, and that's when things really went parabolic. Here, what are we doing right now? We just kind of flipped the bull support band here from resistance here, a little bit of Adam and Eve look to it actually, from resistance here to potentially to support, right? So because of this look, it really does make me think that maybe we're finally at a stage where after forming a higher high and a higher low compared to this high over here and this low over here, this is a bull trend in the making, and that might be setting up for something that's pretty explosive that's coming up potentially pretty soon. Another thing to look at the 2-week chart, and I'm switching between these time frames. It's very important because it gives you a little bit more market symmetry compared to what the last cycle has done. The last cycle, it really have just been stuck underneath the 2-week Ichimoku cloud. And when it broke through, it just broke through with vengeance. Like, it didn't even bother back testing it. It just broke through with vengeance. Here, this cycle is a little bit different because we were finally able to break inside the 2-week Ichimoku cloud. But instead of just breaking through with force, we actually end up getting stuck inside the cloud. And we actually have to back test the bottom of the cloud here a little bit. We've back tested about 3 times now. We have found some pretty decent bounds. Still underneath a little bit of resistance here of the Tenkan and Kijun. But I do think that price most likely wants to break through the cloud. It's just what it looks like it wants to do. And when it does, when it breaks through the cloud, the move can be pretty gigantic and it can surprise a lot of people. So I do have ownership, unlike GME, I do have ownership over Doge. And it's important to put that into context here because I can't buy everything, and I'm eyeing this Doge thing here because it has cycles. GME doesn't really have as many cycles as Doge has. Doge has cycles number 1, 2, 3, right? And we might be starting a 4th one. Whereas GME doesn't really quite have that. So that's part of the reason as to why I lean a little bit more, confident when it comes to Doge. Just because you're seeing the same thing over and over again. Now, if you're asking me in terms of where price would go this cycle, first I want to show you a Gann chart here. This Gann chart was actually drawn on the monthly, so I'm going to go back to the monthly here. It's drawn from 180 to 1 here. Hey Doji. So what we're going to see here is that this Gann has shown great market symmetry, where basically from the beginning, you are getting rejected here at a couple of arcs and then push through, and hit this arc up here. Got rejected, price naturally gravitate towards the angle and back to the other side of the arc. Eventually was able to go through, huck the angle and cross the arc over here and also cross the horizontal line over here. Where does it go gravitate to next? Gravitate up to the horizontal level here in the arc over here. That's where it got stuck here for about 3 months. And it decided to go through the next step. So where did it go? Push through the arc and hit the horizontal line up here around 76 cents. When it hit this area here, it really found some pretty significant resistance. And guess what? It came back down and tested the horizontal line over here around 4 cents, around 5 cents or so. Now, after it hit the top to the bottom, it's just been ranging sideways here until it hit the arc over here. And as we hit the arc, we couldn't really break through the first time. So this is what we did. We just kind of went through the arc, went along with that. And right now, it is still inside the arc. But can you imagine what it's going to do if it breaks outside the arc? Now, when it breaks outside the arc, I do think that 14 cents may be a little bit of a resistance right here. I do think that usually the 0.618 is a little bit of resistance here, which is right now sitting around 26 or 27 cents. I do think the previous all-time high is going to be a little bit of resistance here too, right? But, and this is a log scale Fibonacci level, by the way. But if it breaks through, where is price going to end up gravitating to? Could it end up being in the confluent zone of the 1.618 together with the arc here and together with the angle here? Could price just end up shooting up from where is that right now to $4, right? That's the question. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. I don't want to be too entirely bullish, right? Because that's a lot of resistance that is breaking through to get up there. Just like how over here, that's a lot of resistance for it to break through to get up there, right? So because it happened here, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to happen here. But it would make sense if it does. I would not be surprised if it does. I just don't know if this cycle has enough juice, both in terms of the timing of the increased global liquidity, as well as the market cap. I think market cap for Doge has also gotten a little bit bigger, right? So, but I can potentially see it hitting the side arcs over here, maybe towards the end of 2025. I can see it doing that. And where would it hit if it doesn't hit $4, right? Let's turn off the log scale Fibonacci and look at more like a linear scale. And I can totally see maybe it hitting like 1.618 around $1.20, or the 2.618 maybe $1.09, right? I can see it hitting these areas over here at the arc over here towards the end of 2025. And that would be a little bit more of a muted cycle compared to the last one. Because the last one, if you like, there's not even any like Fibonacci level that really fit this. Last one is just like, if I do a linear, like it went way above the what I would expect. Like it's just there's nothing. It's like 3.618 is right here, and it just went way beyond that, right? Even if I do a log, what you would see last time was that, and I'm going to get rid of this because it's a little bit more confusing. What happened last time was that it really kind of hit the 1.618, got a little bit rejected there, and then it just pushed through, right? It didn't really quite hit the 2.618, but instead hitting the top of the this horizontal line over here, right? So what is it going to do this time? Is it going to hit the 1.618 and went beyond that? I don't really see that happening. I just don't really see that happening. But I can potentially see it hitting the arc up here somewhere this cycle because of increased global liquidity. I can totally see that. Now, I'm drawing a lot of these different kinds of similarities between this and GME because they are really important for irrational exuberance. They're really important for meme season. I showed you on a video where GME basically has like 40 something inside candles to a candle that happened back in January 2021. For Doge, it's different. The Doge, you have about 40 something inside candles from this candle here in April 2021. And again, as I was mentioning with GME, you are going to have some bullish continuation or the continuation of the primary trend after the consolidation here of this big number of inside candles, right? Kind of like how you have a lot of consolidation here, and this is close to being inside candles, but it did break underneath this candle over here a little bit, but it's the same concept. Consolidation sideways for about 4 years or 3 years, breakout that happened within like half a year. Consolidations over here for about 3 years. What's going to happen next? It's going to go down. No, actually, I don't know. I think it's going to go up. I'm actually positioned well if this does happen. And overall, because the increase in global liquidity, I do think that this is probably going to end up happening. And it's going to push up. This is just going to end up hitting some of the lower targets out here, or it's going to end up hitting some of the higher targets up here. I don't think anybody really knows the answer to that. But I do think that Doge is going to break out. And do a couple other comparisons here too. I was showing you about the Doge with the monthly, 20. And if you want to look at that in comparison with GME, it's the same thing, right? This is a monthly chart. It's basically using 20 here as support. GME, what is it doing? It's basically using 20 here as support, right? There's a lot of correlation between the two. Now, again, GME doesn't have as many cycles as I can look at when it comes to like Doge, but there's a lot of similarities. Again, the first one is the 20-month moving average. You flipping that from resistance to support. The other thing is that it's also flipping the bar support band from resistance here to support. That's also very, very important to look at, right? Last time what happened when it flipped it from resistance to support, it went up a lot higher, right? So some very similar things I'm seeing here. Even the 2-week Ichimoku cloud that I was showing for Doge, very, very similar, situation here. Over the last cycle, it just broke through it like it's butter and back tested, and it just went a lot higher. Over here, the cycle, what did we end up doing? We ended up spending, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 candles underneath the 2-week Ichimoku cloud. There's one that got rejected from it. And right now, what have we done so far? What have we done so far since last week? We've entered the 2-week Ichimoku cloud, right? So where is price going to end up gravitating to after you break into the cloud? It's probably going to be the top of the cloud here, around 30, right? That's kind of what I'm seeing here. A lot of similarities here between this and what I think Dogecoin is going to do. Dogecoin is already inside the clouds, getting ready to break out. That's what I think it's going to do. And I think some pretty explosive actions are probably going to happen. I mean, go back to the monthly here. You see how all of these candles over here is an inside candle to this big giant candle over here, right? Same thing's happening with GME. You have all of these inside candles. They're inside this big giant January candle over here, right? So it's just a lot of similarities. And even timing-wise, last time Doge broke out really back in January 2021. When did GME break out? Well, GME has some, breakout even before that. But GME really truly break out in January 2021, and that was history, right? It really was like history, like literally. So that's also part of the reason why I think Doge is going to do well. if you don't think that it's going to hit $4, I think that $1.2 or $1.9 to $2 is a reasonable target. Now, I might just be talking nonsense here. Don't listen to me. Think about what you want to do. Think about what your risk tolerances are. And think about what altcoins are going to do, right? Think about what altcoins are going to do. Like, this is an amazing look to it, by the way. Like, I can't see a more beautiful cup and handle here than this chart. Like, I don't have a better example than a more beautiful cup and handle here in this chart. Here for Doge, you got a little bit of Adam and Eve kind of pattern to it. You do have a little bit of a breakout, have a little bit of a back test. The back test went a little bit too far, but that's okay. These things happen. But I really do think like this whole thing looks like a cup and handle here, doesn't it? How can you be like that bearish on Doge right now? I don't know. Even GME has got a little bit of like a cup and handle look to it. But anyway, I do think that these things will probably end up going hand in hand. I do think they're probably going to end up doing pretty well. Have a good night. Take care. Bye.